Hey everybody, before we start the recap of Season 2, if you're looking for a recap of Season 1 of Never Have I Ever, just hit the tab in the upper right-hand corner. Now Season 2 picks up right where Season 1 left off, with Davy and Ben making out in the car. Davy then gets caught by her mom, who is completely disgusted by the fact that Davy is kissing boys when they just sent her father's ashes into the sea. She starts driving Davy and Kamala home, and she starts telling her how disgraceful the behavior was, wondering exactly what Davy's going to do at her funeral. She figures at this point Davy's probably just going to have sex on top of the grave. Eventually, though, Davy's mom calms down, just figuring that she's just really emotional. As she's getting scolded by her mom, she notices that she has a missed call from Paxton Hall-Yoshida. And when she listens to the voicemail, Paxton says, "Hey, I'm in your neighborhood. I want to hang out." And what timing by Paxton Hall-Yoshida? I mean, ever since they kissed, he's been acting super weird. Because of that, she kind of moved on to Ben. When her family gets home from the beach that night, Paxton's actually waiting for her in his car. He immediately gets out, walks up to her, and starts apologizing for how he's been acting. But he kind of has word diarrhea. He just keeps talking and talking and talking, and finally, he asks her if she wants to go on a date. Dinner at his house. And of course she agrees, because this is Paxton Hall-Yoshida we're talking about. But now Davy has a conundrum. She's got Ben. He broke the law. He stole his dad's car. Even reunited her and her friends. But then again, Paxton over there, he left her a voicemail. I mean, we're talking a 17-second voicemail. So as Davy goes to bed that night, she has a lot to ponder. When she gets up, though, she does have an issue. Her mom is still planning on moving the family to India. Before she does, though, she has to go over to India. She has to set things up for their life there, but she also has to kind of make up with her family. That includes bringing a bunch of Trader Joe's with her. And this couldn't come at a worse time for Davy. She feels like her life's really starting to take off. I mean, once again, Paxton left her a voicemail. Davy, though, doesn't want to start a fight, so she tells her mom, hey, it doesn't matter. 2 years, I'll be back here at Princeton, living my sweet American life. They then start talking about their days. Davy's mom is meeting with a very famous doctor in the area, and she's going to try to sell him her client list at a very inflated price. Kamala also has an exciting day. She starts her new PhD rotation that day with the LeBron James of stem cell research. This guy's the whole reason she went to Caltech. And then obviously Davy has her boy situation. She actually sits in between them in class, neither one of them knowing that the other is also vying for the attention of Davy Vishakumar. Because of this whole love triangle she's in, she needs to talk to somebody. So she texts Fabiola and Eleanor, guys, we need to talk. And she explains how right after she kissed Ben, she got asked out on a date by Paxton Hall-Yoshida. Oh, and she's also moving to India. Like good friends, they try to paint the picture that it might not be so bad. But then they tell her, we're really going to miss you. They give her a big hug, but then her phone goes off. And it's Ben asking to hang out later and Paxton asking if they're still on tonight for their date. She knows she needs to figure out which person she goes out with. And she wants Fabiola and Eleanor's help. So they decide what better way to do it than a pros and cons list. They write it all out, but the answer's clear. It's Paxton. I mean, yeah, look, Ben did all of those things and that's great, but you can get another Ben. You might never get another Paxton. So after a little bit of peer pressure, Davy realizes she needs to let Ben down easy and then go with Paxton. Davy is the only one who's having relationship issues, though. Fabiola gets a text message from Eve, and Eve put her in a text chain with a bunch of other friends who are also lesbians. But the problem is, Fabiola isn't getting their references because Fabiola doesn't really get pop culture, so she's confused by a lot of it. Eleanor tries to help her out, but she might be too far gone. Fabiola tries her best, though, to keep up in the text chain, and Davy heads off to let Ben down easy. She heads over to his house, and he says, I really do think we need to talk about what happened. Davy says, I just don't know if that was the right thing to do. And Ben agrees, but it's because he had a girlfriend. He tells her, that's not fair to Shira, so I broke up with her. Ben asks Davy to be his girlfriend, even though he knows she's moving to India. He doesn't care. He's cool with long distance. After all, his dad has a private jet. Davy really doesn't know what to say because she came over there to break up with him before it even started. And luckily for her, Ben tells her, look, you don't have to answer right now, but I want to let you know, I'm all in. She's got to get Ben, though, out of her mind because that night is the big date with Paxton Hall-Yoshida. But when she heads over to his house, she's pretty surprised to see Trent and Marcus. She thinks that they're going to leave, but they say, no, we're not leaving. We just ordered pizza. So it turns out this date ends up being a Call of Duty fest with Paxton and his bros. That's not exactly what she had in mind. In fact, after Trent ended up throwing up, Davy just got up and left. When she gets home that night, there's a Skype coming in from Prashant looking for Kamala. But Davy answers because she needs some guy advice. She asks Prashant, if you went on a first date, how many of your friends would you bring along? And Prashant says, 0. That's exactly what Davy thought. She just needed to hear it from somebody else. Kamala then comes down and kicks Davy off the computer. And Prashant is really excited because he's planning on coming and visiting her. He's talking about all these things he wants to do with her, including going to Jimmy Kimmel. But Kamala didn't have a great day. The LeBron James of stem cells, Dr. Peters, welcomed the new rotation, but when Kamala got up to talk to him, she got cut off by basically the assistant to the regional manager. The guy's name's Evan, and he basically puts a kibosh on any chance of Kamala talking to the doctor. He introduces her to everybody in the group, but then puts her to work cleaning beakers. Not exactly what she planned on. Prashant tells her that first days are tough, and he's sure that it will get better. And this little pep talk actually helps brighten her spirits up. But she wasn't the only one in the house who had a tough day. Because when Davy's mom went to go visit that doctor to sell him her client list, turns out he didn't even want it. He's so famous and so popular that a client list like that just didn't really appeal to him. So when Davy's mom offered the client list for $100,000, he turned it down. And this guy is arrogant and cocky and pompous, but he's good. And that's what Davy's mom wants for her clients. She wants them in good hands. So he decides to offer her $10,000 and she takes it. The next day, Davy and her class go to pick up trash at the park, and Davy fills in Eleanor and Fabiola on the date, or the date that wasn't. She figures this means that Paxton doesn't really want to be girlfriend and boyfriend. She figures maybe the best option is just to ride it out with Plan B Ben, at least until she goes off to India. She walks up to Ben and tells him, I had some time to think about it. I do want to be your girlfriend. But shortly after they become official, Paxton walks up to her and wants to know why she didn't choose him to be partners, because he kind of thought they had a thing. She laughs at him and says, "What are you talking about? You clearly don't like me like that." He says, "Yeah, I do. That's why I asked you on a date." And she stares at him and says, "That wasn't a date. Your friends were there." But apparently to Paxton it was, because he brings Trent and Marcus on every date. They usually leave when it's time to hook up, and he tells her, "Last night we could have hooked up, but you left after Trent threw up." Davy explains that wasn't really an ideal situation, and Paxton didn't realize that what she wanted was the date to be a one-on-one thing, which Davy reminds him that's literally what a date is. Paxton says, "All right, fine, I will take you on a real date," but Davy says it's too late. Besides, I'm moving to India in a month. Paxton thinks about it and then says, "I guess we got to make this time count," and then goes in and kisses her. So this love triangle isn't solved. In fact, it's worse, since she once again has to convene with Eleanor and Fabiola. Fabiola is busy watching the L Word, because Eve invited her to L Word Night Quizzo, and Fabiola has never seen the show, so she's trying to catch up. But she stops watching when Davy tells them both that Paxton kissed her in the park and she doesn't know what to do. She can't break up with Paxton. Paxton69 exclamation point is her password to everything. But she's been dating Ben for all of about 7 hours. Fabiola tells her, "You definitely have to choose. I mean, what's the alternative? Dating them both?" And that's when Davy gets the crazy idea, "Yeah, I could date them both. I mean, I'm moving to India in a month." Now, look, if they found out, they definitely would be pissed off, but at that point, I'm in India. It doesn't even matter. Even though Fabiola and Eleanor think this is a terrible idea, the idea for Davy that she would have 2 boyfriends is very appealing to her, because Davy Vishakumar is a playa. Thank you so much for checking out this recap. Please consider subscribing to the channel. Hit thumbs up if you liked it. Smash that thumbs down button if you thought this sucked. Make sure to be nice in the comments section. If you don't see the next video up in the end screen there, I'll get it up in a few days, not to worry. And I have merchandise, so go buy a mug or something. It's never too early to think about Christmas gifts, folks. Once again, thank you for checking out this recap.